Good afternoon and welcome to Flipside. My name is Daisy Obaisagwa, and today we'll be talking about the recent issue that happened about a day ago. It was on the news. You know, Flipside, we bring matters that makes the news, but maybe they're not giving enough attention. We bring it here, and then we give you the other side of the story in all the ways you can get a better result from what was reported or get better information. Now, we do know that this is not the first time that we've heard that a gas cylinder exploded and people got injured in the process. But this particular incident is worse because a man who was not even aware that something like that was going to happen lost his life. It's a pathetic one. It's a sad situation. We're going to be talking about safety measures on how we can handle our gas cylinders at home, especially at home. But all the way around, we're going to talk about gas cylinders today on Flipside. We have that report for those who missed out on it. For our news last week, Thursday, you're going to have to watch it now and catch up before we get into the discussion proper, and then you meet my guest.
It was a tragic moment at the mechanic workshop along Benin Agbo Road, near Benin Depot of NNPC, as sympathizers rushed to the scene. The incident was said to have occurred when a gas cylinder exploded from a nearby junkyard and hit the deceased on the head in his workshop few meters away. He was taken to the hospital where he was confirmed dead few minutes after arrival.
I said the loser now, they don't use safety loser, they use force loser. And the loser now, they just fly. Go to our shop. Somebody mechanic set up our shop, and I just hit up our heads. Fly, go up. So the person now will rush the person with the gas and meet to hospital. Before getting to there now, you give up.
The man Abat just sit down for his shop here. They find boat that want to repair in auto. So suddenly he don't even expect the gas when they want sell for condemn iron place. The thing just explode, hit the man for chair. So now, before we carry the man, he just died.
He said in the help our manager, they lose, scale the iron. As he scale and finish, he called dropper. So manager called the loser. Before the thing called explode, as he explode, now from here, knock that man for there. Now the man fall for ground. Now we rush and put for his motor. Carry a come. Before no, they said the man not down. Now we hold this one. Say, if you hold this one, the manager will come outside.
The manager of the junkyard and one of his workers, said to be trying to empty the gas cylinder before its explosion, were said to have taken to their heels immediately after the incident. Another worker, said to be present at the time of the incident, was however immediately handed over to the police by operators of the other businesses in the neighborhood.
I know be me at the commoter. Now you the commoter, now manager. Me, I don't know you go carry the gas. I don't know.
At the hospital, a woman suspected to be a relation of the deceased wept profusely. The doctor on duty pleaded that his identity should not be disclosed, so we interviewed him off camera with his voice on record.
He was brought in here unconscious, and my assessment is that of basal skull fracture. It was gasping. What we just did is also place him on oxygen and try to see if we can bring him back to life. In the space of 5 seconds, 30 seconds, he died. Not above a minute.
The Edo State Police Public Relations Officer, Chidi Uwambuzo, could not be reached, but sources close to his office said investigation has commenced into the incident. Thomas Sado reporting.
All right, so that was what happened for those who missed out on that news. And we have a gas dealer in the house. He's a national officer of the Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association of Nigeria. I'm talking about John Yakubu on Flipside today. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
And now there's even a committee that's dealing on awareness. So we talk to us more about that and all of this. But this gas explosion issue is becoming very rampant. This is not the first time we've carried it on the news. It's not the second, it's not the third. And in recent years, at least I knew growing up, I never thought about gas cylinders exploding. But now that I'm grown up, I now realize it's something that happens and it's a common thing. So gas cylinder explosion, safety measures, that's what we want to talk about today. So what exactly could make a gas cylinder explode to start with?
Well, let me quickly, first of all, thank you for the introduction and let the people know that I am, like you said, a national officer of NAPGAM, the National Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketer. I'm also the national chairman of the committee sensitization and awareness of issues like this.
Okay. Because
we go into places, go into states, like we just came from Uyo. We were in Uyo and we had dealing with the government and even the wife of the governor of Akwa Ibom. Okay. You know, and explosion of gas cylinder, like you said, to a very large extent, it's not too common. But like you said just now, you have had a lot of issues now of gas cylinder exploding. There are a lot of factors that will be involved or responsible. Okay. One is the safety of that cylinder, safe handling of the gas cylinder. One will look at the gas cylinder that exploded, you discover that that cylinder was empty. But there's heavy pressure inside that cylinder. So at any point in time, whether your cylinder is empty or is filled with gas, you have to be very careful on how you handle that cylinder. So that at the end of the day, you will not believe that, oh, we don't have gas in the cylinder, it's safe for me to just throw it around. No, anything could happen and the valve could rupture. That is why when you are flying, nobody allowed you whether to bring in whether empty or filled cylinder in the plane. They don't. You get to the airport, you discover that cylinder is one of the things that you are not allowed to carry along with you when you are boarding the plane. So that's to tell you how sensitive the gas cylinder is. But it's also very safe. But you have to be careful in handling this cylinder. Like I said just now, what would have happened there is that the cylinder, the head of the cylinder would have ruptured and go as far as more than 50 or 100 meters to take the flame from the man who was doing his job, the welder who was doing his ordinary welding, not directly concerned with the cylinder. And when that happened, that cylinder will travel as fast as an ordinary bomb. And the man will be affected, and that's what led to the man who died. So whether in the kitchen or outside the kitchen, that's why it is advisable when we go on public enlightenment, when you have a cylinder that you use in cooking, it is always advisable not to have that cylinder within the confines of your kitchen. You have to relocate it. If you have space, you have to relocate your gas cylinder outside the kitchen and connect the pipe from the cylinder to the kitchen. It's safer, but you can have it within the kitchen, depending on how safe it is and the people that live with you in your apartment. So that when you have children or people who you really believe cannot handle this cylinder properly, it is better for you to relocate your cylinder outside the kitchen environment. Because when you have leakage, who would have known what happened with that cylinder? Yeah, it was empty, but you still have some pressure. When you open a gas cylinder that is empty, you open it, the valve, you discover that you still have noise coming from it.
Yes.
That noise is the heavy pressure within the gas cylinder that pushes the gas itself out for you to use. So that pressure is always there. Without that pressure, you really cannot use your gas cylinder. So one is people advise, when you have emptied your cylinder, you have to keep it properly. Like what I saw happen here now, the man would have taken that gas cylinder, empty cylinder, it is sold to the man who bought it along the road, left it in a junkyard, and during the process, the poor man or the man who was doing his job somewhere took some pressure from the gas cylinder, and that all led to the man's death. So it is safer for you to handle your cylinder properly, whether it is empty or it is full. And again, when you use your cylinder or when you are filling your cylinder, a lot of things that would have happened is that some of these cylinders that you see are standard cylinder made here across the Niger. Government on its own yes, there are a lot of standard cylinders in the market. And again, when you use your cylinder for a period of about 20 years, for every cylinder, you have expiring date on the cylinder. Expiring date on every cylinder. If you go to your cylinder now that you use at home, you discover that if that cylinder was manufactured about 5 years ago, you will probably have another lifespan of about 15 to 20. Okay. Thereafter, you dispose of such cylinder. Because if you don't do that and you still continue to use that expired cylinder, a day might come when the cylinder on its own will just rupture, even without you touching it. Who knows where that cylinder would have been at that time? It could have been located in the kitchen or somewhere else. So always look at your cylinder. One, don't buy substandard cylinder. They are everywhere in the market. Yeah. They are cheap. That's why when some people come, they want to buy cylinder, and you give them a cylinder for 10,000 naira. They'll say, oh no, I just got to a place in town. They sold it for me for 2,500. And these are materials welded together by the ordinary welders on the street and selling them as gas cylinder. I think government must come in at this junction to look at that situation. Because if it is not checked, like you rightly reported just now, that a lot of explosions have taken place.
Yes.
If you watch this explosion, like the one I saw in Lagos, that exploded in a car, if you watch those explosions, you discover that even that particular cylinder have expired. Even the one you showed on television just now, you discover that that cylinder is an old cylinder. So the pressure, the ability for that cylinder to take the pressure is no longer there.
Okay, now there's also something that happens that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I remembered when I was going for my youth service, I wanted to buy a cylinder. I wasn't serving in Benin, but I bought my gas cylinder from Benin and took it down to Kogi State. The cylinder I bought from one of these regular markets, Agbado markets.
Yeah.
It wasn't a new cylinder. It had a little bit of rust in it. And they just told me that's how most of the cylinders we sell are. They had a spray, an aerosol spray. They sprayed it, it looked brand new. And a lot of the cylinders that were in that shop were actually like that. So if not that I saw them spraying it, I wouldn't even know. But how safe is it to respray an already rusting cylinder?
Well, you said something about Agbado. I didn't want to go there because I didn't want to measure the place because that is one of the places where you buy gas in Benin. Yes, spraying a rusted cylinder. It is not a bad idea for you to spray a cylinder that you've discovered that has some rust, that has some problem. But like I said just now, if a cylinder had expired, probably expired about 2-3 years ago, and you are still spraying it to look new,
sure.
It is dangerous. It is now left for you to find out whether the cylinder has expired or not. But a lot of persons are not able to look at that because they don't even look at the cylinder. What you see is that people coming to buy cylinder, if they just see it new, fine, had just been sprayed, oh, this is a gas cylinder. But like I said, it's what you use LPG for, cooking gas for, the cylinder is one of the safest if it is properly handled. Like the one that happened recently, you have your gas cylinder in the car, filled to capacity. You let it there in the car under the sun. That is why when you get to a standard filling plant, you discover that there's a water hydrant on the tank. The tank, that big tank itself. In any standard filling plant, you must see that water hydrant on the tank. It's not for any other thing. It is to cool the cylinder down. That big cylinder, we call it LPG tank. It is to cool the LPG tank down. Sometimes during the dry season, from 12 o'clock, you see that water dripping down.
Okay.
Because when 12.5 kg of LPG explodes and kills one or two, you can imagine what will happen if a whole 20 metric ton of LPG is under threat. So what we'll advise people to do is this. When you take your cylinder to the market to buy cylinder, or you go to a filling plant to fill gas, watch. And once you have done that, yes, you might have it in the boot, but don't allow that cylinder to remain in the boot, most especially like women like you who go to office in the morning. Oh, because I'm going to the office, I buy my cylinder from my filling plant by 8 o'clock, I will leave it there till closing period. No, it is dangerous to allow such a cylinder to remain inside the car or inside the boot. You might be lucky when you come back, it's still there. But sometimes, because of the pressure, because of the temperature, that cylinder might explode. Secondly, when you go to a filling plant, a standard filling plant to fill gas, sometimes I see people still filling gas at from 6:30, 7 o'clock.
PM.
And for people who go to buy cylinders, who go to buy LPG or what you call cooking gas from those places, we've been advising them. Yes, but it is not happening now does not mean probably you might not have an accident. For every standard filling plant, the closing period is 6, at most 6:30. Because in the standard filling plant, you are not allowed to have bulb in that filling hall. If you go to a standard filling plant, there are a lot of plants on this road. If you go to a standard filling plant, watch the filling plant, you will discover that there is no bulb. Because the heat from that bulb alone, because from 6:30, you might be tempted to want to put on light so that you can walk and so that you can fill the cylinder. But the heat from that bulb alone can set the plant on fire. So when you go to filling plant in the evening to fill your cylinder, for Christ's sake, be careful. You can allow them to fill it while you move away from the filling point, because it is not advisable for you. Because if you have gone to a filling plant, you discover that when you fill a cylinder, I don't know whether you have observed it, there's always escape of a quantity of gas at the time you are disengaging the filling head from the cylinder.
Yes.
By the time you want to remove the filling head from the cylinder, you discover that you have escape of gas. There is no technology as of today to stop that. And that alone can set that cylinder on fire. And the heat from the bulb can do that. So we want to advise, like I said from the beginning, one, you check the age of your cylinder. Two, you check the status of your cylinder. What do I mean by status? The filling head, the connecting pipe that takes your cylinder, your gas from your cylinder to the cooking, to the gas cooker, and even the gas cooker itself. There was an incident that happened recently. There was this leaking of gas in the kitchen. And the couple, they traveled, they came back. Unfortunately for them, it was just in the night. They came back at about 6:30, although sorry, about 7. And they needed to do something in the kitchen. The only thing that set the whole kitchen on fire was just to put on the light.
Oh.
That's all. They didn't need to strike any match or anything. Putting on the light alone was what set the house on fire. So one has to be careful. The standard of the cylinder, the status of the cylinder, and even what you have within the kitchen. Once you have taken care of all this, LPG is one of the safest to use
in
cooking.
Okay. So now, how do we know our cylinders are leaking? Because okay, I heard, I don't know how true that is, that
Yes.
you pour water on the gas. That's
Yes.
how the cylinder, that's
Yes.
how you know if it's leaking or not. If it's empty or not, that water will just tell you everything. Well, I've tried it a couple of times. I still don't understand that principle and the procedure. But how do you know your gas cylinder is leaking? Because some people have their gas cylinders at the back of their kitchen.
Yes.
So that if it's inside the kitchen, maybe you could perceive. But if
Yes.
it's at the back, it's more difficult. And if your gas cylinder is leaking,
Yes.
what should you do?
Well, first of all, that smelling from the gas is deliberate, because LPG naturally, after it has been processed, there is no smell. But,
Okay.
but because of the nature of LPG, because of the volatile nature of LPG, when you bring in LPG into this country, you now have to odorize it. Yes. That smell is actually not part of the LPG, but government have made it such a way that you put that odor before you sell it to the people. If the gas is not odorized, they don't allow you to sell it. So when you smell, like you said, you sometimes, a lot of persons who have probably have problem with their smell, and others don't get that. But for water, you test that first of all, from the point of filling.
Okay.
On your valve, what so many standard LPG plant filling station does is to change the rubber free of charge for you, because that could be a problem. And what is the cost of that rubber is between 50 and 100 naira. That can cause leakage. But when you go to a lot of standard LPG filling plant, once they discover that, because once that rubber is leaking, it becomes difficult for you to fill in the plant. So what the boys will do is to first of all check, then remove it and put a new one. And put a new one. Now, once that is done, when you have finished, you again now put water to check whether you still have some bubble of LPG coming out from that. But that is why when you see that, you know that your gas cylinder is leaking, whether you are using it or not. What we'll advise people to do is to bring such gas cylinder back to us. We'll put a new valve. But most of the time, a lot of persons don't do that. So don't worry, by the time we are coming back the next time to fill, we will know what to do. Once you observe that from your gas cylinder, that the valve, you have bubbled from the water, you know that your cylinder is leaking, because nothing can stop it. The pressure in the cylinder will continue to push the gas, whether you are using it
or not.
That's why sometimes when people fill gas for about a week or two, they rush back to the plant. Oh, I just filled this gas 2 weeks ago. It has not served me for the number of weeks I used to use it. One thing we'll quickly ask is that check your valve. But there are valves, because there are about 3, 4, 5 different sets of valves. The standard valve is one of the valves that you can observe leakage. Other valves that you screw or you lock. For me, I am not trying to market those valves, but they are better valves. Unlike the standard valve, you just you screw it and you start to use it. Why? Because the other valve, once you have stopped, there is no way it can leak. All you just need to do is to screw the knob and it will lock.
Okay.
But the standard valve, you don't have such an instrument to lock. All you just do is that the valve is not leaking, you have your regulator on it, and it will take gas to the cooker. No. But the other valve, even when you have the regulator, you just go close to the valve and you lock. Whatever happened to that cylinder, it will not get to the kitchen once you have that lock. Sometimes when people want to change their valve, I will advise, rather than using the standard valve, why not take the other valve that you can lock? Because it's written on top. When you screw to the right, you open. When you screw to the left, it is locked. Okay. Once you lock, nothing can pull the gas out of the cylinder. So the other one you mentioned about water on the cylinder. If you have your cylinder behind your kitchen, that you can use to measure the quantity of gas in your cylinder. If you come out in the morning, you discover that the cylinder itself, part of it is wet, part of it is dry. The part that is wet, that is the quantity of gas that you have in your cylinder. The upper part that is dry means that that part of the cylinder is empty. So for persons who are not able to measure the quantity of gas they have in their cylinder, in the morning you can do that behind your kitchen. You just check your cylinder, you will know that the quantity of cylinder gas that you have in your cylinder.
Okay. Yes. All right, the program is Flipside, and we're talking about gas cylinder explosion safety measures. I have John Yakubu, and he's been talking to us about several things that we all need to know. I was almost saying we should all go back to firewood and kerosene, but he has assured us that using cooking gas is one of the safest measures that you can actually employ when it comes to cooking your food. But we'll go on a break on Flipside. When we come back, we'll talk some more about this topic.
Nigeria, are you ready for the 15th edition of Miss ITV Hot Legs Nigeria Beauty Pageant and ITV Radio Fashion on the Runway 2019? Are you pretty, good looking, intelligent, and you've got what it takes to be the next Miss ITV Hot Legs Nigeria Beauty Queen? Then go get your form now. The first 20 persons to go to Independent Television and Radio, Glasshouse Airport Road, or Purely Event House of Model, number 10, Iagbe Street off Ekewa Road, Benin City. Get their form for free. Wow, what are you waiting for? Celebrating 15 years of Miss ITV Hot Legs Nigeria Beauty Pageant 2019 and be the local winner of a car and all the fantastic prizes. ITV Radio Fashion on the Runway 2019. Are you a fashion designer? Do you run a fashion school? Do you run a fashion boutique? Then go get your form now for 5,000 naira to contest for ITV Fashion on the Runway 2019 and win our fantastic prizes and lots of consolation prizes.
Chairman of the occasion, Barrister Keisdom Werabo, constitutional and human rights lawyer. Special guest of honor, Honorable Gideon Obaka, former Edo State Commissioner for Education.
Audition date, Friday 8 November 2019. Venue, Exquisite Home 2, Iyama Road, GRA, Benin City. Time, 10 a.m. Dress code, black tank top on a blue jean. Grand finale, date, December 1st. Venue, Eluria Hall and Suite, Sabalo Road, Benin City. Miss ITV Hot Legs Nigeria Beauty Pageant. It's getting bigger and better. Get set for the Keep Walking edition.
This event is supported by Oviomu Foundation, helping to build a better society through numerous platforms. Vive la Vive Boutique, sales of female and children clothing, shoes, bags and other accessories. Accessories, 11A, First Uber Road, After Water Resources, and located at Market Square, Sapele Road, Benin City. Fortune Skincare, 61 Adesua Grammar School Road, off Bob by Water Resources, and Demodo Cooking Gas, 247 FM Way, Benin City. Wesley Premium Table Water, number 2, Wesley Street, Oka Community, off Benin Sapele Road, Benin City. Honorable Michael Izomo, CEO, St. Izomo Farm Organization. Ogbe Motors Nigeria Limited, 202 Sapele Road, Benin City. Global Foods and Cinemas, 59 Urubi Street, Benin City. Samotaka Generators and Electronics, number 66, Wire Road, Benin City. Burr Bank Oil, located at Benin Akure Road, Oluku, where 1 liter of fuel is 1 liter. Comrade Osarboy Dausa, co-convener, APC Ikwabaoka Liberation Movement, and President, Grassroots Initiative.
For sponsorship and participation, call this number 080-5656-3675 or 080-5673-3170. Miss ITV Hot Lake Nigeria Beauty Pageant. Discover the beauty in you. Miss ITV Radio Fashion on the runway. Fabrics, needle and thread, creativity at its best.
A child is born. His name is Jesus.
He's more precious than gold.
Jesus is more than gold. He deserves to be celebrated. Are you a Christian? ITV Radio is organizing a show titled Christmas Igbadu. Come celebrate Jesus with when coming. There shall be lots of fun with DJ Ultimate, different artists, cartoon characters, games garden, and other side attractions. Competitions include
I Know My Parents,
hot ball,
color match, balloon busting, skip and race,
etc., with fantastic prizes. Wow!
Day, Wednesday, 25th December 2019. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, ITV Radio Corporate Office, Glass House, Airport Road, Benin City. Gate fee, 500 naira per person.
This program is partly sponsored by KC Devices Phone Shop, sales of phones, laptops, CCTV cameras, inverters, accessories, and gadgets. Number 68, Airport Road, opposite FIROS, before Akenswood Junction, and Shop 68 Bob Israel Complex, opposite Oba Market, Benin City. Telephone 0803-6408-268. And supported by Builders Inn, the Builders Mart for Tires, Cement, Sanitary, Doors and Roofs. 10 Sokomba Road, 19 and 32 Cook Road, Benin City. Christmas Igbadu! Igbadu! Ragbada! Ogbalo!
All right, we're talking about gas cylinder explosion and safety measures. There might be a few more safety tips we need to have on our fingertips. But before that, if you are a gas user when it comes to cooking, you notice that the money you used to fill your last gas is kind of higher than the one you used to fill the gas before now. And maybe by Christmas, it will even be way higher. So we want to know, you're a gas dealer, what's going on? Why do we keep having this increase in prices?
Well, let me say this. What is going on now to us as a body is shocking. That individuals or families are going to pay higher for just what you have in this country. Because about a few weeks ago, we are also alarmed, like you just mentioned now, that the price of gas is going up. About a few weeks ago, a 20 metric ton of LPG, 20 ton of LPG was just about 3 million or 3.2. But surprisingly, by last week and this week, that same LPG, it's not that they brought in new one, it's now selling for 4.4 million. So what do you do? Well, a thing you bought for 3.2 million about a week ago, you are now going to buy it for 4.2 this week. What do you do? All you need to do is to pass that cost on to the consumer. But the irony of it is that there is really nothing being added that is pushing up this cost. That's why we're calling on federal government. In all honesty, we're having a meeting in Lagos next week, and part of what we have in that meeting is to urgently call on federal government to look at though gas is not regulated. So the market of gas is not regulated. But that is not the reason why we must arbitrarily push the price up for consumers. That is not right. We have asked the question you are asking. We have asked the depot owners, what is responsible for the sudden increase of price every day from 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, just in a matter of 1 week? The same gas is now 4.2 million. So what we are saying is that, like I said, we're having a meeting in Lagos next week. We're going to approach the federal government to quickly, urgently come into this situation so that people will not pay exorbitant price for gas by December. Because before now, you would have noticed that the ordinary 12.5 kg for over 3 months have been selling for between 2,800 and 3,000 naira. So in the next few weeks, that price will push up
to 3,235.
To 4,000 naira. That's where we're going to, unless something urgent is done about it. That is why I said just now we're having meeting next week, because though the price of gas is not regulated, it is not proper for you to just wake up in the day. We have asked questions from the depot owners, what their reasons are. They've not been able to explain to us. So for that reason, we are meeting so that we can further investigate. Because we have excess of LPG, cooking gas in Nigeria. Excess of it. Federal government makes a lot of money from LPG. That is through LNG, exporting LPG in this country. So what we are saying, or what we're telling the federal government, yes, you have enough to export. Please tell LNG to bring a quantity of that for the domestic market. It's an irony that you have excess of LPG, what you commonly refer to as cooking gas in Nigeria. You still go outside the shore of this country to go and bring cooking gas. You export cooking gas, you go back to go and bring cooking gas for Europe to the domestic market. Under President Obasanjo, he called on LNG and said, look, whether you like it or not, part of what you have, rather than exporting oil, more beef for domestic market. They've been doing that for a time. But what we're saying is that that quantity must be increased.
Because more people are using gas
More
now.
people are coming in, safe, but a lot of persons are coming in to use gas. And because of the fact that kerosene is scarce, a lot of persons are embracing gas. Why then do you now want to drive people away from using what we have in this country? So what we're saying, like before now, the national consumption quantity for LPG was less than 700,000 metric tons. But we are hitting 1.5 million metric tons. And it could be more. And that is a very small quantity from what LNG can give to the domestic market. So we are appealing to LNG, we are appealing to depot owners, we are appealing to every person who plays at that level to please come together so that Nigeria can enjoy cheap LPG, cheap cooking gas. Okay. We'll do our best to ensure that gas will not go up during Christmas, because it's not necessary. The problem is not yours. The problem is not ours. Yes. The problem is from the depot owners who on a daily basis, you come today, you buy 20 metric tons. I probably would have shown you the chart if I have it here. From day before yesterday to today, it has moved from 3.6 to 3.8 to 4 million. By this morning is 4.3 million. How then do you survive on that sort of situation? So we want to appeal to people, please keep using LPG. We'll do our best to make sure that the price
go down.
Okay,
still let's go back to safety measures on gas cylinders and usage of the gas. Are there particular safety tips everybody should know? Like maybe there's a particular size of cylinder every human being should have in the house. You shouldn't exceed it, and any other.
No. The safety tips that we're supposed to have when you use gas to cook, there are very few, and once you are able to observe it,
you're good to go. You
are good to go, and nothing will happen to your kitchen. One, if you have space outside your kitchen, relocate your cylinder outside your kitchen. But if you don't have space outside your kitchen, it's good to have your cylinder within the space of your kitchen. Okay. But you discover that there are some of these cookers that you go to the market to buy. You don't need a matches to light up your cylinder. All you just is an automatic thing. Or you turn it on and the fire will just come up. When you take it off, it will go off. Such cooker are some of the best in the market. But if you don't have that, because it saves you the problem of having to lock your cylinder when not in use and to open it up when you want to use it. Once you want to use it, you just turn the knob, the thing will just come up. That saves your children as well. Because even when they go to the gas cooker while playing and they want to put it on like mommy used to do, they just put it on, they'll see the fire. Even when they run away from it, the fire will be burning, nothing will happen. Any person can come, the only thing that will happen is that cylinder would have been empty by the time you come back, by the time you come back home.
Yes.
Yeah, but the issue of leaving it on to the disadvantage of everybody in the house is not there. The thing will just be burning. The second thing is that most times with the use of this telephone, a lot of persons, while trying to on their cylinder, will hold their telephone. Honestly speaking, that alone can send the whole kitchen ablaze. So when you are in the kitchen as a woman, please keep your phone aside, because the discharge from your phone alone can cause the cylinder to explode. So keep your phone aside. It is advisable that once you are in the kitchen, keep your phone aside when you are manipulating your cylinder. That is very important. Even when you are in a filling plant, that is why you come to a filling plant, you want to fill gas.
No cell phones allowed.
No cell phone is allowed. Like the woman, let's say to the governor of, I think, Ogun State 2 years ago, it was the cell phone or her cell phone that ignited her cylinder, and that was the end. So please, when you are in the kitchen, number 2, like I said just now, the cylinders with automatic knob, that is one. When you are in the kitchen, please don't use your cell phone. The third one is, when you want to on your cylinder and you have your matches with you, you have the match box with you.
Yes.
Please be attentive to your cylinder. Be very careful. Don't on the cylinder, don't on your cooking gas, or your cooker before going to look for matches. Oh, Janet, please on that cylinder for me. Where is the matches? You must have your box with you, your match box with you, and even the stick out of the match box before you open your cylinder, before you open your cooker, so that as you are striking, you are opening and you are owning your cylinder. Because within a matter of 30 seconds, and you are looking for match box, the whole place would have been engulfed. That's number 3. Number 4, there is a lighter that you use. I think it's about 500 naira. You can see it on the street. It's about 350. You don't even need a match box. Once you put on your gas cooker, you just strike it and it will come up. But once you have finished, one thing we have noticed in this enlightenment campaign that we do, once you have finished, a lot of persons who use the ordinary gas cooker, not the automatic one, in trying to clean the cylinder, clean the cooker, somehow you would have touched the knob.
Oh, no. Without
knowing. And you just have cleaned and you are gone. But somehow that has happened to me at home. Oh. You would have touched the knob without knowing. Somehow you are gone. But if you are lucky to be some persons who have this sense of smell, you will come back to notice that the gas is leaking. You quickly go there and take it off. Please, when you are cleaning your gas cooker, be sure that when you have finished, test the knob one by one to be sure that you didn't mistakenly open any of the knob. They would have done that and you are gone. If it's in the night, like I said at the beginning, putting on the electric bulb alone is enough to set the place on fire. And the fourth one is this. A lot of persons, when they have a leaking cylinder, like the camping cylinder, you have the 12.5, like you said just now, whether you have the size of cylinder one must you know. You can even use the one of 3 kg. Okay. But once you have filled, you must bring the cylinder back and place the burner okay. on top. Even when you are going to fill, if your cylinder is leaking, if you have a problem with the knob, take the burner along so that at the point to finish filling, you can fix the burner back immediately. Because on that burner is a knob with which you can lock the cylinder. On that burner alone is a knob. That is the safest part of it for persons in school who use the 3 kg, the 5 kg, and the 7 kg. Very safe, because that once you have finished using, you just turn the knob underneath and the thing is locked. Please don't allow kids to go there to turn it on, because kids watch you cooking, yes, and they watch mommy turning on the knob, but they don't know that before mommy will turn on the knob, mommy must have a match box with her or the lighting knob with her. So when you come using your cylinder, check properly If a cylinder is leaking, you would observe, without smell, you will observe the cylinder itself would have been wet. So when you come into the kitchen and you discover that your cylinder is wet, something is happening to the cylinder. So be careful. Don't even use it at all. When you come into the kitchen on an evening like this and you check your cylinder, the whole cylinder is wet, it means that cylinder over time has leakage. Waited for the match this thing to come, it didn't. So it's just on that circulating and the cylinder will be wet. All you need to do with your cylinder is take it away from the kitchen. Take it very far away from the kitchen. Like we said at the beginning, empty cylinder can kill if not properly handled. Take your cylinder away from the kitchen, take it to an open space, allow it to leak out completely before you cannot take your cylinder back to the filling plant for a proper repair. You actually cannot wear cylinder. A lot of people will discover that their cylinder, you have a leaking cylinder, so let me take to the weather and see whether they can patch it. No, you don't do that. If you do it, even the welder himself, the person repairing it for you, if he's lucky, he probably will be able to, after he has probably removed the pressure, he probably will be able to weld it. But the person welding it and you, the owner of that cylinder, is at a high risk. So please, don't take your cylinder. If it's leaking, they'll tell you if there's a hole. That's why when you come to our plant, if you get to our plant, you meet a lot of cylinders on the ground, stuck somewhere. They are all bad cylinders, but you look at them, they look new. But these are leaking cylinders. All we are waiting for is that we'll put them together and send them back to some of these iron metal companies so that they can recycle them and get something out of it. But to take such cylinder back to the market is dangerous.
Okay, so now the last question I have for you on this show today is, how do we check where exactly is this expiry date written on our gas cylinders? And for those who have bought cylinders that have been sprayed and resprayed and oversprayed, how then can they know if their cylinder is expired?
Well, when you pick up a 12.5 kg, that is standard size kg, even the 5 and the 7 kg, new one or an old one, I'm not talking about the one manufactured across the river, because when you pick that up, there's nothing written on the body, and it is very dangerous. I want to appeal to some persons who take delight in doing these cylinders. Yes, we are making money from it, but we are not helping the society. Yes, we are making money from it, but we are sending people down to the grave, just like that. Yes, we are making money from it, but how many persons would have died using that cylinder? You would aspire to the bank, but that's not the proper thing to do. Like I said at the beginning, government is on its own trying to see how they can stop that. They stop one person, another person is doing it from another angle. But if you know where such cylinders are manufactured, please speak up and report to the government. It might be your friend or your brother or your sister who will be involved. Back to the question you asked. If you pick up a standard cylinder, looking at the top of it, you'll see some figures. Okay. It's embossed. It's not printed.
Yes.
It's embossed on that cylinder. You see it. On that embossment, you see the date of that cylinder was manufactured. You see the quantity of gas you are supposed to put on that cylinder. You see the weight, empty weight of that cylinder. Most 12.5 kg cylinder are just about 40.56. Nothing is inside kg. You see the weight, then you see the date that cylinder will expire.
At the top.
At the top. On that handle. If it is not written on that handle, if you watch the top of the cylinder, you will see it there. Any cylinder that is manufactured and that have passed through the Nigeria Standard Organization, SON, there must be this information embossed on that cylinder. Before they can allow a cylinder to enter the Nigerian market, whether imported or manufactured locally, because there are a lot of firms in Nigeria today that manufactures locally made cylinder. But before the cylinders are released to the market, SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria, but make sure that these things are put there and they meet the standard before they allow such cylinders to go to the market. But a lot of people don't look at that. It's very simple. Once you can read and write, even if you cannot read and write, you can ask somebody to look at it for you. Once you can read and write, it is boldly there. You see it there. The size of the cylinder, the weight of the cylinder if it is empty, this weight of the cylinder once you fill, the year the cylinder was manufactured, and the year of expiration.
Okay.
So those things are there for you to check. But even when you paint, like you said just now, you still can see it.
Okay.
Yes. Even when you paint and repaint, you still can see it. Because it is not there by printing, it is embossed.
Okay.
So even when you paint and repaint, it's still there. All you just need to do that. If you observe the cylinder and you are seeing something on the line that looks like information for you, you can use chalk. Rub school chalk on that part. It will be boldly exposed so that you can see it. It is necessary and important because, like you showed just now, an empty cylinder, expired empty cylinder, was what sent that man to the grave beyond.
I want to say thank you so much for coming to Flipside today. We've had fun and we've learned a whole lot. Personally, I didn't know as much as I've learned today, even if I didn't learn anything, that the fact that my phone can actually set my cylinder ablaze. Oh my God. Every woman out there, please, if you missed out any part of the show, just go watch on YouTube so that you can catch up. We're always on Instagram, on Facebook, pressing our phones when we're cooking. Sometimes the food will even get burnt because of our phones. Well, when you're cooking now, keep the phone out of the kitchen. And even when you go fill your gas, a standard gas plant is not supposed to be filling gas for you at 7 o'clock, 7:30 with bulbs all around. That's risky business. Even if you didn't learn anything today, please pick that so that when you go fill your gas, check out for things like that and then decide if it's safe enough for you and for your children and everyone who goes to that gas plant with you. Watch the program on YouTube if you've missed out on any part, and watch the repeat broadcast on GoTV tomorrow morning and Star Times at 4 a.m. And Daisy Obaise, I want to thank you for staying with us and see you next week.